Before we start this video, I just thought I'd let you know that I made a new channel about mythology basics. Right now I have 2 videos up, and I'm planning on posting there weekly since the episodes are pretty short and simple. Thank you so much, and now let's get on with the video. Pudge is a hero I've been both excited and terrified of doing a video about. He is one of the heroes with the most cosmetics in the game, having both a persona, an arcana, and multiple immortals. And while I never really was much of a Pudge player myself, he is the most played hero in the entire game. He has a heck ton of lore in Dota, as well as some of it spilling over into Artifact, and he has many cool relationships. So without any further ado, let's get into it. I will start with his basic lore, and then expand into his cosmetic and relationships. As always, I advise you put on CC/subtitles if you can't hear me very well. In the fields of endless carnage, far to the south of Koij, a corpulent figure works tirelessly through the night, dismembering, disemboweling, piling up the limbs and viscera of the fallen that the battlefield might be clear by dawn. In this cursed realm, nothing can decay or decompose, no corpse may ever return to the earth which it sprang, no matter how deep you dig the grave. Flocked by carrion birds who need him to cut their meals into beak-sized chunks, Pudge the Butcher hones his skills with blades that grow sharper the longer he uses them. Swish, swish, thunk. Fresh falls from the bone, tendons and ligaments part like wet paper, and while he always had a taste for the butchery, over the ages, Pudge has developed a taste for its byproduct as well, starting with a gobbet of muscle here, a sip of blood there. Before long, he was thrusting his jaws deep into the toughest of torsos, like a dog gnawing at rags. And even those who are beyond fearing the Reaper, fear the Butcher. Contrary to the typical mindless zombie and mind-controlled dead legion I talk about in my Undying video, the people of the Fields of Endless Carnage are sentient and have personalities. If they die, their corpses don't, and no matter how deep you dig them down, they come back. One such character we all know and love is Pudge. In the fields, you see, nothing decomposes, and throughout the day, an endless battle, or carnage if you will, lays behind limbs and guts that has to be cleared by dawn, and that's Pudge's job. Throughout the night, he butchers the corpses and gets the battlefield once again ready. He turns them into small enough pieces that the birds that frequent the area can consume them. But then, over time, Pudge himself also got an appetite for fresh meat. He is a meat connoisseur and prefers it raw and fresh. One weird thing about Pudge is that he doesn't need sleep. No one knows where he's from or how he got here or who his family is, and he gets irritated when asked about it.
Lots of folks is curious about me family. I'll tell you once and once only. Don't ask about me family.
What we do know, though, is that he worked for a king and on a farm as a butcher in his past.
I worked for a king once. One of the best years of my life.
Koij is a city near or in the Fields of Endless Carnage. Listen to this.
Nestled in the Fields of Endless Carnage lies the city of Koij, an undead metropolis where slovenly butchers rub shoulders with the most proper of corpses. To the living, this cloak is grotesque. To the dead, it's the height of fashion.
In the Fields of Endless Carnage, the dead can never die, leading to the creation of grotesque perversions such as these.
I get it. The Fields of Endless Carnage sounds like a horrible place to take a holiday, but I'm telling you, Koij is a great city, filled with lovely people. If you ever make the trip, be sure to stop by the fighting pits and say hello. I may look different on account of the whole sewing on limbs thing, but I'll remember you. Oh yes, I never forget a face.
So Koij and the undead living there are cultured, intelligent, although somewhat savage people. But despite how wholesome the pit fighter is, the fields have enemies.
For generations, the Ramusku faithful have defended the living world from the abominations that slink from the Fields of Endless Carnage. We were known as men and women of principle, of valor, of devotion. And then Necrophos tried to destroy us all.
The Ramusku faithful are from a religion similar to Catholic Christianity. It's the same one Necrophos scammed. The Ramusku has in the past completely purged the fields and Koij of all its inhabitants, and it's unknown if this was before or after the time we see the selfish cleric. One of the top current leaders seems to be Lady Anshu, the High Priestess.
Go forth and do good. Through your deeds may the humble be inspired to greatness, and the plans of the wicked made undone. Healing doesn't end suffering, it merely treats it. The only way to end suffering is to actively fight those who cause it.
Which kinda suggests that maybe the big purge is about to happen and hasn't yet. The Ramusku is opposed to anything undead, and that also includes the dead god. Saint Krella, a former leader, centuries ago forged Pudge's Arcana, the Feast of Obsession. she enchanted the chains so they would help fight the Dead Gods Legion, but they instead got corrupted by the Dirge and destroyed Krella's homeland. Much later, Pudge found them and they started working together. This is the text of the Arcana. Centuries ago, the Remescu priestess Krella forged unbreakable links of hook and chain to bind the most powerful servants of the Dead God. But the Dead God's corruption grew too strong even for Krella's revered enchantments. Taken up with the rhythm of the Dirge, her chains abandoned their charge, turning instead to carry out the destruction of Krella's homeland at the Dead God's command. Now, their vile purpose long since served, the chains of obsession have sworn service to a new master, and the delights of butchery. This is his own telling of the story.
I've been stabbed before, burned before, cursed before, but back then, never been banished before. Don't know where I ended up. Not a nice place. Everything dead. No meat anywhere. But I had me nose like I had me hook. And I sniffed out something deep. Down through a great tear in the earth I went. But something else sniffed what I sniffed too. Well, I don't know if it sniffed it. Do you sniff? No? Anyway, something else already found what I sniffed. Like it had already found everything else in that place. And found me. At least wise it thought it did. This thing. Chains is what it was. Chains and great big hooks on them. It's flying about with no one throwing them. Stinking to death. Thinking they can kill me? Well, the butcher's got his own tricks. And a hungry Pudge has got to eat. In the end, Dead God thinks of it as stealing. I calls it lost and found. But I like the company.
Now with Arcana, Pudge got a lot of new voice lines to other heroes. We're gonna go through his relationships, but first let's talk about his new persona, the Toy Butcher. The bio reads as follows. Feared most among the fluff-stuffed denizens of the toy box, the Toy Butcher stalks the corners and shadows of the bin, always on the hunt for his next kill. Every toy knows that once the butcher gets his hook in you, your stuffing and your life are forfeit, like as not to be left strewn about the lanes as the pushy monster jaunts happily away with your lonely ragged remains. Here are his monologues.
On my way to Quaritch, place I've never been. It'll take a lengthy voyage before I meet my king. But here's a little secret I can let you in. I hope that when I see him, I can keep my head. Truth be told, I'm right nervous. They won't consider me undead. Whenever I throw me hook, there's no need for me to fear. I don't even have to look. I know my friend will soon be here. A scissored smile wide from ear to ear. We'll play and play throughout the day, leastwise till they fade away. They call me the Toy Butcher, but that don't bother much. I feel a need to hook ya and have your guts for lunch. Now, before you get suspicious, let me beat you to the punch. I came to play. I don't mean no harm, I just can't help but have me eye on your lovely, lovely left arm. The story of my birth is not pleasant to behold. Such tales, devoid of mirth, should never be retold. There was a child of both eye, blood and wealth, left abandoned to her own estate, with naught but servants to care about her health. It would not be fair to call her wickedness innate. She heard the tales from lands far away of one they called by Pudge, a monster immune to all decay. Against whom death ain't got no grudge. And lucky enough for this little girl, money and power make all the difference in the world. They summoned an enchanter from Weeping Rose. Though the journey would take months, the girl's wishes were disclosed, and the designs would start at once. With no restraints or words of caution, the girl's plans flew at quite a clip, guided by stories of the never rotten. My final patterns were resolved with a scissors snip. So when the enchanter at last to Crimwell arrived, the required vessel was well ahead prepared. From a Pudge sauce tidbit, arcane makings were derived. For not a single one amongst the lot had the wisdom to be scared. I can tell you true of heart, I want only a hug and smile to greet. But if you bring a Pudge doll to life, don't be surprised when you end up fresh meat.
So, the way I understand the story, a little girl who was abandoned by her family ended up wickedly interested in Pudge. So she made a doll and got an enchanter from Weeping Rose to bring it back to life using magic and some tidbits from Pudge. So the toy butcher is not Pudge, it is rather just a toy that has been surrected with his DNA, kind of like a clone, but it's a doll. Okay, now onto the relationships. Let's start with Basic Pudge, then Arcana Pudge, and lastly Toy Pudge. Almost all of his enemy-killing voice lines are about their meat.
Spare ribs? Not what I had in mind. Fish don't hardly count as meat. Winner, winner, Ricky dinner.
Other than that, he doesn't have any ally voice lines. His Arcana voice pack, though, is much more interesting. He has a lot of voice lines for Rubik, likely because they were finalists in the battle of who gets the Arcana.
All the grand little pieces. Gonna save this for later. It's worth savouring. Your old man died a has-been, Rubik. And you? I never was.
He's also got way more meat voice lines when hooking specific heroes.
Fresh fish, fresh bug, manipulative meat, stinky meat.
And when killing specific heroes.
Nice flanks. Shame and all, but let's not waste good meat. Toughest meat ever. Never cared much for cooked meat.
The interesting interactions, though, appear with Underlord and Undying.
The chains have heard of you from the screams of your minions. I met a worshipper of yours once. Tasty fella. Not even the dead god's power can stop old Pudge. You give us civilized monsters a bad name. Oi, tell your boss these chains are mine. Don't stand too close. People already think I'm with you.
Unlike Basic Pudge, Arcana Pudge has ally voice lines. To Antimage, who is the sworn enemy of the dead god, he seems to try and hide the chains that used to belong to the dead god.
Don't ask where I got my chains.
He's friendly to Bane, the elemental of fear and nightmares.
I've always loved working with you, Bane.
He simps for Centaur for some reason.
I wasn't leering Centaur, just admiring.
He thinks Crystal Maiden is a loon.
This one's crazier than I am.
He's friendly with Dark Willow.
Yeah, when this is all over, you should let me give you a tour of Quoid. It's a lovely little city.
And he thinks Doom is nice.
You're a lot nicer than everyone says.
One interesting and quite profound voice line is from Pudge to Elder Titan.
We're all broken things, put back wrong.
Elder Titan split the universe in his mind when he caused the Schism, which also created the Fundamentals, Io, Cottle, CK, and Enigma. Pudge may be a bit worried about the chains taking him over, as he asks advice from Lion, who has a demon's hand transplanted on him.
So, Lion, does the figure ever try to take control and you only barely manage to keep it from consuming your entire life force? Asking for a friend.
Pudge might have the hots for Medusa.
Shame to mar such a pretty face. Oh, hello, miss. They call me Pudge, the Butcher.
We know from this line that Pudge doesn't feel pain.
So, pain. What's that like, eh?
Like I said earlier, the current leader of the Remescue Faithful seems to be Lady Anshu, and she hates Necrophos for possibly causing the whole sickness plaguing the Cathedral of the Remescue and almost wiping them out when he pretended to help the sick during a plague, but instead he was just scamming people. And Lady Anshu might be the same who led the Remescue Faithful to purge the fields of endless carnage. Pudge says this to Necrophos.
You seen Lady Anshu? I think we need to teach that zealot a lesson. If I bring Lady Anshu your end, maybe she'll leave me mates alone.
The Toy Butcher hook voice lines are all about wanting pets, instead of talking about their meat.
I always wanted a pet bug. I always wanted a pet light bulb. I always wanted a pet tree. I always wanted a pet queen.
When killing enemies, instead of harvesting their meat, it's all about bits to make toys from.
All this fur will come in handy. If I could only figure out how to harvest Miss Fred, you'd make a great plush. Bright colours and all. Let me teach you a little something about arts and crafts.
And being playful like a child.
Go play with yourself. Sorry, Batrider. You seem the playful type. Before you go, can you make me a snowman? Scissors beats rock today. If you would have just let me have a climb, we would have been all right.
And thinking about where he comes from, his childhood and his upbringing.
You must have had a messed up childhood. Makes me wonder about my own, Mum. Make way for the younger generation. Hard world out here. Oh, you kids forced to grow up so darn fast.
When meeting allies, he has similar voice lines. He is incredibly friendly and likes hugs.
Isn't it nice to have a friend? I know a lonely child when I see one anti-mage. Come here. You look stressed. Want to give a squeeze? Why the long face, Bane? I can make friends. but not like you, Beastmaster. Wanna play, while I don't mind the cold. You know a lot about war on docks here. But what about fun? You look like you need a hug, Doom. Come here, Elder Titan. Give me a hug. You're in luck, Conker. Playing Pirate's one of my favourite games. You're not fun at all, Shadow Demon. I've been a very good boy, Miss Snapfire. Can I have those cookies now? Wanna join me Crafts Club, Weaver? It's just getting started.
He's afraid of fire heroes because he can easily burn.
Don't get too close, Clinks. Fire hazard. Sorry, Jean. Nothing personal, but I'll stay over here. I'm not supposed to play with the pyro inclined.
He's also not a fan of getting wet.
Try not to splash me too much, Morphling. Takes all day to dry.
Pudge might be the key to what happened at Juggernaut's Island.
So what happened to the Isle of Masks anyway? Did someone take their mask off?
Maybe the vengeful magic that destroyed it was because someone took their mask off. Somehow he knows Phantom Assassin's real name.
Everyone needs a friend sometimes, Mordred. Especially you lonely assassin types.
This is very rare because it's a secret that previously only Mordred herself and the Oracle knows about. This voice line may foreshadow the upcoming new hero Valkyrie, which may be Imperia, which again may be Vengeful Spirit's sister.
I bet your sister was a real brat growing up, eh, Venge?
He knows Wraith King's father for some reason.
Tell me about your father, Astarion. I get the feeling he was a real piece of work.
Maybe he was also the father of the girl that made the toy butcher, who was abandoned. That will make Toy Pudge's maker Wraith King's sister. When enemies meet or kill Pudge, here's some of the voice lines. Mars might have made Koij, the city in the Fields of Endless Carnage.
You know, Koij wouldn't even exist without me.
Pangolier can attest that the Fields of Endless Carnage purge was a bad thing.
C'est beau you left the fields before the Ramesque pilgrimage. Those were dark times indeed.
Before we end the video though, please go check out my new mythology channel, linked down below and at the top comment. Also, please check out the new Dota lore channel made by my buddy Biomancer. His work is great and he deserves so much more views. Thanks for watching, and liking, and subscribing, and to my extra special wonderful patrons on Patreon. It means so much to me. Until next time, peace.